Cafe Networking Podcast promotes successful business experts. I'm Tom Rioch, known as the King of Networking, connecting people throughout the world from my podcast studio in Brazil. Joining us today from Funchal, Madeira Island in Portugal, is Ana Mikeda. She's an author, psychologist, high-performance and burnout solutions specialist, mindfulness and breathwork instructor, transforming anxiety into efficiency, pioneering cognitive strategy for the AI era. So Anna, burnout and informational overwhelm, what are the solutions?
Well, first of all, Tom, thank you so much for having me. And secondly, burnout. Very big question. So a lot of people have burnout without even realizing that they do. One symptom of it is when you're looking forward to the weekend and you think Monday is the most horrible day of the week. That definitely shows that something is not right in your work routine. So there would be several solutions to that. One approach is to approach it from values perspective, to see whether your work, what you're doing, is really aligned with your values. And there are certain strategies to find out your true values, because very often we think we value, for example, money and comfort, but actually our value is freedom and in education.
Right.
So very often our values are not what they think they are. So we should be very attentive and very careful in determining them, because that's important. So determining the right values is the first step, I would say, to combating burnout. Because when you do what you love, you don't get burnt out. Unless you also have anxiety about your performance. So even if you do what you really, really love, but you are very anxious about it, you're anxious about your success, you need to prove that you are the best psychologist, you're like the best YouTube video blogger, and that creates this constant anxiety inside. And that can also lead to burnout. So what is the solution here? The solution here is to find what are those demands you make to yourself, like being successful, like being the best, like being the most liked person on Instagram. And you realize that those objectives are not good for you. They are not very healthy, and allowing to let them go. And of course, that can also be a little bit difficult, because a lot of those things come from our parents and our upbringing.
Many times our parents were burned out, and we never
Exactly.
realized that, because many times people relate today burnout to be something that started in the pandemic, but that's not really true. People have burned out for years.
You're absolutely right. And actually, working conditions right now are slightly better than, they're much better than what they were in the 50s or, before, when it was just like factory, 9 till 5 repetitive work. But what is happening nowadays that is still making it difficult, even more difficult, is informational overwhelm. Because most of us now, probably most of audience for your podcast, they work with information.
Right.
They process information, they pass on information, they always get new information. And this creates, our brain basically feels overwhelmed because there's too much information coming in. Our ancestors didn't have that much.
Right. But they
Didn't
still
have all
burned
those
out.
drills. They still burnt out. Now we have better work conditions. But because of this informational overwhelm, we get burnt out in a different way. We get burnt out by feeling that we can't concentrate on anything. Like nothing is good enough, nothing is interesting enough. And that creates shorter attention span.
Right.
And that in turn creates less efficiency at work.
Right.
And that in turn creates longer hours to substitute for the low efficiency. And that creates burnout. So it's like a loop.
You as a professional, do you focus on personal attention to people? Is it groups? How do you handle what you offer?
So I have two main approaches. One is individual coaching and psychological work, where we work specifically with either anxiety or burnout or whatever the client feels is important to him. But secondly, I also work with companies that that want to build up their company culture,
Right.
to create a culture of care in the company. And so I teach meditation and mindfulness. It's like a weekly sessions. And those classes are really great because on one hand, they give you practical tools to meditate, to reload after intense work. And
I see
secondly,
you're a breathwork instructor. Do you help people breathe?
so breathwork is my favorite instrument to change our focus, to become more present, to be able to feel ready to solve a difficult problem. Breathwork is number one instrument because it can very quickly either relax us or accelerate us very quickly.
And that's pretty much in our own control, right?
Exactly. Breath work is this like gift to humanity, basically, because on one hand, it is automatic. Most of the time, we don't notice how we breathe,
Right.
and yet we can still control it. Like it's not the same with, like, say, heartbeat, or
Blood pressure.
like, yeah, exactly. But with breath, we can control breath. And actually, with controlling breath, we can control heartbeat and pressure and all those other things. So, breath work is like our key to the unconscious mind. And its powers, its effects are really, really awesome.
So you really have a wide range of opportunities and solutions to offer.
Yes, thank you, Tom. Well, my main two approaches is psychology. Second one is meditation, mindfulness, breathwork, so more spiritual techniques that I use in a more scientific context, but they're still very effective, even without the spiritual emphasis. Those techniques, breathwork, meditation, are very, very effective.
And I think that's the important thing because we as individuals, me as a person, we're certainly unique. And our problems are unique. It's our background, the influences on why we're burning out are not necessarily the same. So when you do develop and attend individuals, you do sort that out. You put that in order and help them step by step.
Yes, that's what I aim to do. And most of my clients have very good results.
And I also noted what you said about the corporate culture of care culture. That seems to be more important than many companies actually address. So,
yeah, and also care culture is like one of the top priorities to help with burnout, because when a person feels like his company is his family, that he's supported, he's seen, his achievements are acknowledged, it's a totally different attitude, and the person often wants to go to work into this kind of culture of care.
very good. So, Anna, I want to thank you, but how can our audience, whether it be a person or a corporation, find you?
So first of all, I can be found on LinkedIn. My name is Anna Mikeda, Mikeda, or they can see my website. It's called www.tao/teching.com, and I will spell it for you now. It's TAO/TECHING.com.
Very good. Well, thanks again, Anna.
You're welcome. It was such a pleasure to be on your podcast. You're a great host.
Our pleasure. And again, for our listeners, it's Anna Mikeda, ANNA, the last name Mikeda. and the site is tao/teching.com, taoteching.com. You also find Tao Teching YouTube channel with much more information available.
Mm-hmm.
Cafe Networking is brought to us by Focus MI Market Intelligence, an agricultural market research specialist in Brazil. More information at focusmi.com. Talk to Tom, talk to the world. Thanks for listening. Until the next time here at Cafe and Networking Podcast.